started late. But anyway, it's alive today, live, wacky Thursday, huh? Well, if you see me coming in and out, it's because I'm at work. But I'm doing this live anyway. It's just a little reminder that I reminded today. Um, June 3rd or June 1st was 8 years that I've been sober. So clap on for me, right? And sober and clap on for everybody who's been 8 years sober, 20 years sober, 1 day sober, 10 days sober, 1 hour sober, or even a minute sober. So congratulations to you guys. It's not easy, but it's possible. Um, Also, I want to say, as I was watching the news today, it's been 40 years since HIV's been out, and we've lost a lot of people through it. And I just want to say to those who have not gotten tested, get tested. 1 out of 10 people are HIV positive and they don't even know it. Um, we have over 1 million people living with HIV here in the United States alone. So get tested. Um, don't worry about it. Um, if you come out positive, there's medication. You can live a regular normal life. All right. So without further ado, let's go to what the title says: Luma Energy in Puerto Rico. And the reason I want to touch this topic is because everybody thinks that it's just here in the United States that politics is corrupt or that politics plays foul. Puerto Rico is no exception. Puerto Rico is a small island of 3.2 million people, and politics in Puerto Rico is a sport. Sport. And right now, Puerto Rico handed over its electrical grids to Luma Energy. Okay, and a few years back, Puerto Rico handed over the telephone company over to Claro, which is run by um, multi-billionaire Carlos Slim from Mexico, and he's thinking that company's horrible, Claro, and the airports in Puerto Rico is taken over by Aeromex, another Mexican company, and they haven't showed any improvement. So now Luma Energy has taken over, as of 2 days ago, as of yesterday I think it is. They took over Puerto Rico electrical grid. Now, what happens now? That Luma Energy has a lot of stipulations that if there's a hurricane, they're not going to deal with it. That if this happens, they're not going to deal with it. And most of the employees of Puerto Rico from the energy company before the authority, la autoridad de energía eléctrica, the authority of energy consumption, um, they're not taking their employees. You have to reapply, whatever the case may be. So the people from the electrical authority company, um, boycotting, or they've already boycotted, but the company already started, and they're boycotting, and the governor of Puerto Rico already assigned the bill over to them, signed the contract over to them. And there are people out there who are boycotting, there are people there who are complaining, all right? But I feel bad for the employees. I do not feel bad for the people of Puerto Rico. And I say that because back in November, the people of Puerto Rico had a chance to change the political system. They had a chance to change the face, because every 4 years, if it's not Republican, it's a Democrat. If Republican in Puerto Rico is the blue, I mean the Reds, and the Democrats are the blue. What's it called, PNP, and in Spanish the Reds are Popular. So Democrats are PNP, Populars are Republicans. So they say. It differentiates because Jennifer Gonzalez is PNP, but she's a Republican. Um, so so now they're complaining about how Luma is not going to take the employees, and how Luma is not going to take care of the people of Puerto Rico the way it's supposed to. That in case of a hurricane or case of a disaster, Luma can let go of the island. And I don't feel bad for the people of Puerto. I feel bad for the people of Puerto Rico, but I don't feel that bad for those who voted for the governor, because Puerto Rico, like I said before, Puerto Rico had a chance to change the whole entire system, change people from PNP, Popular, and vote for a different voice. Okay, they had different parties in Puerto Rico. They have more parties now in Puerto Rico than they ever had before, and they chose the same one. They chose the same party. They changed the person from the same party that they ousted a year ago. A year ago, they went to the Capitol and they screamed and yelled that they wanted Pedro Rosselló to be out of the governmentship. They wanted him out, or they was gonna burn things down. He left, and they came and they voted for another one from his party. Okay, so Pedro Pierluisi is not even any better than Rosselló. So, so instead of making a contract with Luma and saying, you know what, I'm going to give you the contract because you have given me the best offer, because you're going to charge cheaper, but within that offer you have to take all the employees that we have from the authority, and they have to work with you. Can't fire any of them unless they do something real bad, but you have to hire each and every one of them. That's the way you start things. You just don't get a company and let the company hire whoever they want to, and then have those employees that has been doing this for years know the island back and forth. I mean, from the palm of the hand, they can go into places where these new guys are not going to be able to go to, or not to be able to go to, but they won't know how to get there, because GPS is not going to take you there. Unless you know how to get there, you're going to be asking people, hey, listen, where do I go through here? How do I get to this place? And they're going to be lost. So something that's going to take, that's something that would take them maybe an hour to go to do, or maybe take them 20 minutes to get there. Maybe take them an hour or so to get there, because they don't know their way back. I mean, they don't know their way. They don't know their way where to go to. So that was a bad decision on the governor of Puerto Rico, letting a company take over that has thousands of stipulations, that don't want to take no responsibility whatsoever, and doesn't let the employees go under Luma. They have to reapply for a job, and that's so stupid. So now you have all these people. You know, you're gonna have all these people out of work, going to do another job. When my app drops, you're gonna promote me, Gio? No diggity, bro. Blanks, of course, bro. Always. So when these people have no jobs, what are they gonna do? All you could do in Puerto Rico: security job, McDonald's, and factory job, unless you have a profession or you do side job. You know. Be right back. Red light? Oh, we got that blood. So as I was saying, sorry about that. I have people coming in and out. Alright, so like I was saying, so where are all these people going to go to work? If all they know how to do is electrical work. Luma says that they have over 200 or 300 linemen to be ready for work. 200 or 300 linemen is nothing for Puerto Rico. You know how many places you have to go? The infrastructure in Puerto Rico, the light infrastructure in Puerto Rico, is antiquated. It's old. You have to put up new poles. You have to put up new wires. And you have to go phase through phase. That means that you're going to have to turn this section off in order to do this section. Keep this section on, right? Work on this section, keep this section on. When this section comes on, turn this section off. You got to go section through section through section through section. That's going to take time. You think 300 linemen are going to do that? No. You're going to need the whole entire fleet. You're going to need new equipment. That takes time and money. And it takes manpower. Manpower which Luma does not have. So what is Luma going to do? So instead of taking, this is what's going to end up happening. Instead of taking the employees of Puerto Rico that already know the system, they're going to come out and contract other people and bring them over to Puerto Rico, where most of them don't know how to speak Spanish. So how are you going to communicate with the people of Puerto Rico? Because Puerto Rico, even though English is the official language, everybody in Puerto Rico does not know how to speak English. That's good, Blanks. That's good. Let me know when your app comes out, bro. I get it for free. So this just tells you how politics are in Puerto Rico. Pedro Pierluisi didn't pick Luma because he chose that's the best. There's something involved with Luma that he's involved with. Okay, and he may show you that strong character that Puerto Rico, this Puerto Rico, but no, it's not that. So it's like when you see some people that go to Puerto Rico. That's like a TikToker that says, "I moved to Puerto Rico because of the tax purposes, and I'm giving and I'm helping back the community. I'm giving back to the economy," which he's not giving back to the economy because his job is e-commerce. He does everything through computer. So how he's hiring locals? How is he hiring locals? No, most Puerto Rico has this thing that if you live in Puerto Rico for 6 years, for 6 months, and you're a resident for 6 months, you get tax breaks. But you have to come from abroad the United States, somewhere else, and you get tax breaks. But most people that go to Puerto Rico because of that are Americans, so they go from the United States to Puerto Rico. They get tax breaks, which they don't have to pay taxes on that. What do you think Logan's in Puerto Rico for? Because of that, because of the Mayweather fight, and he doesn't get taxed for that money. But he probably would get taxed because he had to be living there for 6 months, and he hasn't been living there for 6 months. But but that's the purpose. It's all tied politically. So when Puerto Rico had a chance, Puerto Rico had a chance to do something different, I should say. They could have turned the political face around. They could have sent a message to these people. Said, you know what, we're not gonna take this anymore. They didn't care. If you look at my interview where I interviewed Sammy Pagan the other day in Spanish, he was a representative of Puerto Rico. He represented an area of my town, which is 3 towns together, and they ousted him because they accused him of something that he didn't do. Okay, but he can tell you how politics is in Puerto Rico. He said a story. He told me a story there in which he went from house to house, trying to get to know the people, trying to get the people of that area. And one lady said, "Oh, he asked her, "Do you know who your candidate is? What do you know about him?" He says, "I don't know, but he's from my party, so I'm gonna vote for him." So just think about that. She voted for a person that she knows nothing about, but just because that person is in her party, he's running under that party, she's gonna vote. So what does that tell you? That there's no political thinking. You have to be savvy in what you do, and not savvy. I'm talking about slick and things like that. Savvy is that you have to choose to do things intelligently. You know, I voted Democrat, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to vote Democrat because he's a Democrat. No, I need to hear what that Democrat has to offer. I need to hear what the Republican has to offer, and then I balance it out. I know, to be honest with you, I know as much as a Republican tries to do their best to help the people, that's not going to happen because we're living in a country where it's the richer gets richer and the poor gets poor. I understand if you don't hustle, you stay broke. I understand all that. You have to in this country, like in any country, you have to hustle to make money. Which is a good thing. But to believe in all this capitalism and that this is the best country in the world, I mean, listen, there are at least a lot of countries who have Democrat. I mean, they go or Democratic, who you can voice your opinion, you can say things. There are countries that you get paid more, and you get more. I was I saw a message with a young man, and he said today that all these countries that have free school, free healthcare, free this, free that, they can do that because those countries believe in the people. So yes, they pay a higher tax, which is called a VAT tax. Okay, they pay a higher VAT tax. More money comes out of your pocket, but you get more for your money. You get a better health system. You get better policing. You get a better education. And a happy country is a good country, right? So those countries don't mind paying that because they know what they're getting in return. Here in America, you say raise taxes. It's, oh my God, I can't pay those taxes. I can't, because we're living in a country that's just me, 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 me. This is not a country that we can say, okay, let me help this. There are great people here that will say, okay, let me help this. But there are some not. Look at Amazon. Look at Walmart. All these billionaires became more billionaires through the pandemic, whereas mom and pop shop had to close down. And they sold milk, they sold cereal, they sold Pampers, they sold baby food, but they had to close down. But yet Walmart could stay up. Target can stay open. Be right back. What do you guys do so far? show up here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, the make and model your car here or something. Yeah, but you have to do, go contact county health board and ask them when are you eligible for.
Well, some screwed up on the last time. Last week, they lost out. So they said they were going to do it for 3 hours instead.
Oh no, so what you have to do is when you do that, you gotta call them. And then when they give you the free room, then they give you the free room, then it shows up. But that goes through them. You get the names. To your left, when you use the internet, it's the last thing in your room. And breakfast is from 5:30 to 2. Let me see, you want to go.
Last
First person I asked about soda. I asked soda, like, they got diet. Oh no. Cheaper. What? You're welcome. It should be. If it's not, let me know. I'll get some. You're welcome. So sorry about that. So like I was saying, so here we are, but so Puerto Rico had a chance to change all of it, and they haven't. So now they cry, and it's gonna happen. Perluis is gonna stay there for 4 years, and he's gonna go another governor, and he's gonna go back to red. He's gonna go back to red, and you're gonna go through this whole process all over again. So Puerto Rico is being sold, and people don't even know about it. Well, people know about it, but they don't know how they're being sold. We're being privatized, and our employees are going under. I'll give you another example. Puerto Rico demanded that the United States remove the Marines from a base in Ceiba, Puerto Rico. Okay, so here you have a Marine base that's full of Army personnel. All right, armed forces personnel. They have if you ever go to Puerto Rico, go to Ceiba, and you go down Roosevelt Road, you went to the complex of you go to the Marine base, and you will see what they had in there. They had houses, they had movie theaters, they had laundromats, they had bowling alleys, they had baseball fields, right? And the most important, they had an economy. They brought an economy to the town of Ceiba because you have Marines and Navy. You got the military service will go in. They didn't want to eat from they didn't want to eat from there, so they went to town, which was maybe 5 minutes away. They went to town. They ate locally. They rented places locally. So the town was with business. Something happened. They got upset. Here comes the blues, the PNPs. Here comes the Popular. Here comes the Independent Party, wanting them out. So they fought, and they got the Marines out of Puerto Rico. But they didn't say to themselves. So once we get once the Marines get out of Puerto Rico of Ceiba, what are we going to do with the economy? They didn't think about mom and pop shops that we're dealing with, people that were living off the backs. I mean, people that were living off the economy of the Marines, of this Army base. They didn't think about that, or of this naval base. I'm sorry, of this naval base. They didn't think about how this is going to affect them. How they're going to affect these people. They probably did, but they didn't care because they wanted to do a voice. They wanted their names to be heard. They wanted to go into history that they were the one that took the Navy base out of Puerto Rico. But they didn't think about the poor people who are going to suffer because of this decision. All right? So now mom and pop shops had to close down because they had no other choice. Mom and pop shops had to do this. Mom and pop shops had to do that because they had no other choice. Okay, because business is not what it was. So the same thing now with Luma. You're gonna lose a lot of employees. They're gonna get a lot. Now they're gonna bring in their own personnel. So now you have all these thousands of people that are gonna be unemployed. And they're gonna have to reroute the way they do work, or they're gonna have to take side jobs. Or they're gonna have to try to open up their own little shop. And to open up a store in Puerto Rico, it takes a lot because you gotta get certificates, you gotta get this, you gotta get that, and the waiting system in Puerto Rico it takes a long time. It really does. So Puerto Rico had a choice. They had a chance, not a choice. They had a chance to put a new face to Puerto Rico, so that these penepes that they want to stay here for Puerto Rico, stay here for Puerto Rico. That's not going to happen anytime soon. By the way, people can look up and say, you know what, Puerto Rico changed. Could have given hope to other countries like Venezuela, Guatemala, not San Salvador, Guatemala, Mexico, all those countries that would have said, you know what, if Puerto Rico can do it, if they turn around, we can do it too. And they're a small island. Look at us. Look at the people of Venezuela. They're suffering under President Maduro's regime. Why they don't oust them? Why they don't coup them? I don't know. But Puerto Rico did a bad decision in taking Luma. And it's only because of political reasons, because Pedro Pierluisi knows someone there, someone knows him a favor, or whatever the case may be. That's always been the case in Puerto Rico. And that's it. You know how you know where all the money of Puerto Rico went to, all the tax money that Puerto Rico had that has disappeared in 2009? You know how you find out where that went to? You audited Puerto Rico. But Puerto Rico's government hasn't even audited themselves. Because why haven't they done an audit in Puerto Rico? Because they're afraid of what's going to come out. Because they know that their names might be there. Their friend's name might be there. Their relative's name might be in that book. Because come on, you owe more than $72 billion in debt. You're in a debt of $72 billion. Something happened, right? Something must have happened. What happened? Don't know. So they had a choice, they had a chance, and they didn't do it. Look, you have great representation in Puerto Rico. You have Manuel Natal, which is a great guy senator. He ran for the mayor of San Juan and lost it, or they stole it from him, I should better say. Okay, that man stands and he fights for the people of Puerto Rico. And yet, when he's in Congress, you know what Congress does? They shut off his mic. They don't let him speak, but he still speaks. And he's a man that's fought for the people of Puerto Rico. And the people of San Juan voted for a PNP. The PNP party has done nothing for San Juan. The Popular Party, the Popular, the PPD, has done nothing for Puerto Rico. Because this gentleman changed shift. This gentleman went from one party and joined a revolution party that's composed of people who do care, and of young people, young men and women, who is the future of Puerto Rico. That's what this movement was about, or is about. Did he choose him? Right? One of the candidates for one of the movements, Alexandra Lugaro. 4 years ago she should have been the governor of Puerto Rico, but she was winning at one point, and then because she came out and said that she's an atheist, people stopped believing her. What does one thing have to do with the other thing? Those people who say they're Catholics, those people who say they're Christians, who are in the Senate, of Puerto Rico, have stolen so much money, but yet you vote for them because they got Christian belief, but yet they stole everything in their mother. That doesn't make any sense. You have Lule Santiago, she's from the Independence Party, a very astute woman. Most of the people who are in the Independent Party are astute. You can tell by the way they talk, but they want independence. And when people of any party hears that Puerto Rico, that anyone's voting for independence, they assume this is what you gotta get politically smart. You have to study. The people just think that, because I'm voting for this person who's independent, Puerto Rico is going to become independent. No, Puerto Rico does not become independent. Puerto Rico does not become a state unless Congress of the Congress of the United States says so. It says so. It has to be voted in. It's not like that. So we have to get educated in a lot of things, but when it comes to politics, you have to educate yourself. You have to be somewhat smart. You have to be somewhat savvy in that aspect, because you would have people that would just tell you what you want to hear because they know they can do that, and you don't know what you're talking about. So don't feel bad for Puerto Rico. Feel bad for the people who are going to suffer because of the ineptitude of this governor, Pedro Pierluisi. Remember that. And people, don't forget to sign up. I mean, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much, and thank you for watching my interview with attorney Edward Martel. It was a great time. I learned a lot from him. I learned perseverance. You know, you have to have perseverance to move forward, and tenacity. You know, if you're a tenacious person, you go for what you believe in, and you let nothing get in your way, you will succeed. You really will succeed. All right, guys, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.